Now this match isn't going to be like, you know, something you expect to see on this channel on a frequent basis. It's going to be quite interesting. Now I am playing as a 7th Panzer, and I'm going to be up against the 1st Armored from the UK, which obviously isn't the best kind of deal you can get, but I pulled off some amazing strategies, and I just want to show off those, and hopefully it'll also improve you guys' gameplay a little bit more, especially with Armored, since a lot of people are having trouble with Armored battle groups and stuff. So to start off with, we have Recon on the front. We got these Special Aufklär. These are sniper teams, or sniper recon I should say, and they'll basically go to the front line and keep an eye on the enemy. We have an MI2 recon going as well. We have 2 Cubs, decent AA pieces. They only do have 3 missiles though, so if a plane flies over them, that's basically all of your missiles gone. We have an Acacia straight off, or straight up. We had some Conquerors teams, and we got tanks. We got T-72 M1s and the T-72M leader tank. Now these guys are relatively cheap, 160 points, but their gun packs a mean punch. 18 AP is actually not that bad, because the strongest AP tank in the game has 21 front armor and 21 AP or penetration with its cannon. So in terms of the overall accuracy or the penetration value of the gun, it's actually a pretty good tank. Now Wild Weasel flies over. It does manage to destroy one of our AA pieces, but we quickly doink it, and just like that we've already used up 66% of all of our missiles, so that's kind of rough. And that means basically we need to get a supply truck out immediately. Luckily we already pre-purchased supply trucks to make sure that we keep these guys nice and supplied. I just call in a MiG-23, try to do some damage on this guy, but I miss everything. But yeah, our Special Aufklären have made it to the front line. They're going to be keeping a nice eye on the enemy, and the cool thing about these guys is that they have the GSR trait. Basically, if they stand still, their surveillance or optics go up 1 level. So right now it is excellent, because normally it is very good. So when they're not moving, it goes up to excellent levels. Now my tanks are a little bit slow here, but not to worry. I am playing against the 1st Armored, so he's also relatively slow. My beloved A10 on the right side collapse what looks like a helicopter, so that is quite a rough start there. Now these FV721s are actually not bad. 70 points for good optics and stealth. That is actually a pretty good unit. Now luckily we have some Conquerors teams here firing at these units. This Conquerors team is already getting engaged by the Fox, which is not going to end well. But luckily we have one to try to take some revenge. But he misses there. Now remember, the first 5 shots are training rounds. Okay, it's trying to, you know, it's trying to pinpoint and zero in on the enemy. So it's not doing its best yet, it's just warming up. But luckily this guy hit with the 3rd one. Pretty good. Now we have these 2 tanks or 3 tanks here, and the main objective is to keep him at bay. Right now I am seeing this Thunderbolt, and I'm gonna be careful, but when you notice an A10 plane or any plane that has anti-tank capabilities move towards you, what you want to do is just smoke off your tanks by selecting all of them and pressing B for Bravo, like I'm doing now, and just not move. If you don't move, you're concealed by the smoke. If you move, that smoke was only temporary. Now if you do use smoke, you need to rearm the smoke, because it only has 1 dispenser, basically, 1-time use. So you have to rearm those bad boys. We get a beautiful shot on that Challenger Mark II, and these guys are 290 points, 20 front armor, 19 AP, just absolutely terrifying to be up against. So 20 and 19 versus 15 and 18, that is rough. That basically means that our guns are quite a good match for each other. But at max range, the Challengers will obviously have a much better time, because we'll only deal 1 damage to them. Now I was gonna say, luckily we have the Conquerors to take some, you know, to do some damage, but unfortunately it misses. Now the strategy here is simple, to use the terrain to get as close as possible with our tanks. So we have some trees here, and the building basically means that we can move up to this area without getting into line of sight of that, of those tanks. MiG-23 from our teammate coming in, destroying the Thunderbolt, very nicely done. Probably going to get shot down by the massive AA on the right side here. Yep, there she goes. Quite unfortunate, quite unfortunate. Now, with that, I do smoke my tanks off again because, you know, I saw that A10 prematurely. So I just keep him there, I get the supplies up and running. Unfortunately, we do lose the SC-22, the AT plane, when I try to take down this Mark II. But I wasn't successful with it, and I kind of lost line of sight. Now, the supplies with your tanks is one of the most important things, because then you can just kind of keep smoking it. It's really, really important. So we have our tanks at a much better range. Not max range, so we can actually do some damage to these enemy tanks. And we're just kind of holding out. Right now, there is a decent status quo. Left side is contested fully. Middle is split equally. Right side is on our team, but barely. This guy really just went all out with units that don't make sense. He has a Tunguska moving to the front line, straight into the M1A1's line of sight. He is most likely quite new, but for the moment it's looking decent, right? Well, things are about to change. It's about to change pretty drastically. Now if we look over to the left side, there is some skirmishes going on here. We got Focal with his 35th guard against GMC, who's playing as the 8th mechanized. They're having a ton of fun here. Definitely 8th mechanized does pretty well in these kind of terrains, so nothing too open, nothing too dense. They can get nice and close with the AT4s and the recoilless guns. And I do respect the Kiowa with rockets. The Hellfire I would respect a little bit more. Now at this point, the Challies are moving up. My T-72 has a nice line of sight on it, so we get a good shot on him, doing 2 damage. We move up the other one, dealing another 3 damage. We hit him again, putting him down to 3 HP. So we move up all of these tanks, and we bring him down to 1 HP, I believe. We don't actually manage to take him out. Yeah, he's on 1 HP right there. So we target the other one. AT Gem hitting him, and we actually blast that Challenger to pieces. And that is very cost effective. Now, one of those is 290 points. These T-72 M1s are 160. So to destroy one Challenger Mark II is already a pretty good price there. Now we're trying to get this other Challenger, but at this range our guns do minimal damage, and actually they don't have an effect on its armor, although it is in range. That's just the benefit of having 20 AP. So at max range, the front armor is going to do a lot. Now at this point, I just showed where all my tanks are, so I decided to pull these guys back a little bit. They are already good on health and everything. And instead I'm getting my recon units up on the front line. And as you can see, the Challenger is getting repaired right now, and that goes really quick. I've actually kept a time, and it's basically 1 HP every 2 seconds if the tank is not panicked. So in 20 seconds your tank, well 18 seconds theoretically, your tank will go from 1 HP to full HP in a third of a minute. That's just nuts. Now my tanks here are still kind of just awaiting the artillery barrage, but it's not arriving, so we move it up nicely again. Oh, there it is. There's the artillery barrage. But luckily, it's moving to where we kind of moved back to. Now the MiG-23 is here. A little bit of a miss micro. We kind of just flew all over the enemy AA here. And we just, yeah, we just lost 2 of them. But don't you worry about that. 80 gems destroying that Challenger Mark II that had 1 HP left. And over here that infantry is just deleted, let's just say. Now the Conquerors teams are doing pretty good, getting some nice sight shots here. Does it hit this one? It does not. But with that, we take out another Challenger, so that's pretty good. I do decide to call in my artillery right on top of them just to keep them moving back. Or to move front, or to move forward and not stay there in the smoke. I just want to dislodge them. Now the BMPs here, they have decent AT gems. The accuracy kind of sucks, but you know, it's just anything to do another HP damage. And that helps. So we move out the tanks real quick just to get some shots off. We don't hit him, but we immediately retreat to heal this guy back up. This supply holds 2,000 total. So that is massive. That is going to keep these guys supplied for a long time. Now as you can see, the health is already back to full after a couple seconds. And I do decide to call in a couple more tanks. I'm just having a lot of fun with these tanks. I could help this guy out, but if I did... I mean, what do I help him with? Tanks? There's M1A1s, there's not much I can do. And Tom Scott here is playing as the 79th, so he should not really have any problems. Now we get one nice 80 gem strike on him. My tanks are still holding. I want him to move as close as possible. So right now we decide to move up our tanks out of the smoke and forest. Deal a lot of damage to this guy, bringing him down to 3 HP. We lose the command tank, which was very unfortunate. But we do a ton of damage on these guys and brought this dude to half HP. Now losing that command tank hurts a lot though. Not because we need a command tank here, you don't actually need to keep the tank in there, but it was used to buff up our tanks to a higher veterancy. That is the most important thing about commands. They buff up your units in the sphere of influence with a +1 veterancy bonus. So we lack a command tank, so we quickly get another one. And if you want to know what those effects do, just hover over them and it'll tell you. Leader unit grants +1 veterancy level to all nearby units. Now at this point, we get these Carl Gustav units here, the Terrier Paras. Luckily they do miss. So we just quickly back off there out of RPG range. And we just blast them away. That's not really being a huge problem there. A nice thing about buildings is that their HP was increased by 25%, so it can actually, you know, take a lot more shots without immediately disappearing. Yeah, the 7th Panzer, I do like it. It's pretty fun. Like, your tanks are kind of medium, you know, 15, 18. That's like basically your heaviest tanks. There's also the T-72M variants, but obviously they're going to be weaker. But even against challengers, if you use them right, you can do a lot of damage. But you gotta use it right. You gotta let them get close to basically abolish their to basically eliminate their armor. At close range, their armor advantage means nothing. It's all about guns and who fires first. Now our command tank is moving up. We got the Acacias firing at AA positions back there. Challenger Mark II pokes out of the smoke. Luckily we have 80 gems here to scare him off. We get a nice shot on this one. But with that second one poking out, we are not going to have a great time. These two T-72s are also out on the field trying to do as much damage as possible. But as you can see, things are not really looking good. Now luckily we get a nice bailout on this Challenger, which means that it's out of service for the moment. And I want to move in and try to take him out. The 80 gems on the left are trying desperately to hit him, but unfortunately they miss. Otherwise that would have been a nice kill as well, because that guy's on 1 HP, I believe. That would have been really, really nice. Now there's 1, 2, 3, 4 challengers that are being a bit of a problem, and what I do at this point is I smoke to force him to move closer. But you can tell that he knows that I'm trying to do this. Now he does something really good. Smoke off his tanks and get a supply over there to basically rescue that tank that he has. SU-22 unfortunately betrays me and doesn't hit anything. Otherwise I could have taken that out and we would only have to deal with 2 challengers. So I felt quite betrayed with that one. I felt quite betrayed. Yeah, Conquerors are also not really helping out here. So the purpose of the Acacias right now, of the artillery, is to keep our tanks smoked, because we did just use their smoke dispensers. They are not rearmed yet. So we want to use some of our artillery here. Now we do lose the supply truck, unfortunately. This Challenger is back on health, mostly. We do get a nice hit on him, bringing him down to 5 HP. Now we have 3.5 tanks, basically. This guy's not on full HP, so it's a little bit rough. But we finally have our command tank here as well. The goal is to move him into this blob so that we can do a renewed push on the enemy. Now the SAS Patrol is the UK's sniper recon. Got the L96 sniper rifle. At this point what I try to do is push up to this Challenger because he's cut off from the other Challengers there with his own smoke. So I'm trying to deal as much damage as I can to this guy. Retreat with this one. Bring out the other 2. This guy smokes off his retreat, so he's doing pretty good, but I want that. I want to eat this Challenger. So I decide to move my tanks up front, while this smoke from the enemy is covering my right flank. So Challenger 2 spotted and taken out by 160 point T-72. We are doing really well with what we got here. I am severely outclassed. 320 points. Literally twice as expensive. Literally. And that's why we gotta smoke them. Now this supply truck, I want to keep him in cover as much as I can. I just moved the tanks back here to quickly repair both of them. They are on like 5 HP and 7 HP. This guy's also messed up down to 2 HP. Now I do have 3 tanks over here, but they're not having the best of times. Especially this T-72. I'm not quite sure if I forgot to micro this or... Yeah, okay, I did it later. I decided to fall back with it, bring out these T-72s to quickly get some shots off. Unfortunately, I missed both. And I take 2 head-on hits with this T-72, bring him down to 1 HP. And that guy's basically out of the battle for the moment, until we get him resupplied. So that's also kind of what's hurting me right now. The lack of frontal armor means that basically after every engagement, I have 4 tanks that need repairing. Now again, with this smoke that cuts off his tank blobs, I move in with my T-72s to try to do as much damage as I can here. But right at that last second, there's some enemy artillery that stuns my T-72s quite a bit. And that is a little bit of a problem. Now on the right side, fresh Challenger Mark II together with a leader moving up. Basically puts this guy on elite veterancy, which is horrible for us. But we are back to square one here with repairing our tanks. We got 3 full HP T-72s. The 4th one is getting repaired as we speak, so that's going to take about 10 seconds here for the rest of the HP if it's in range. Is it in range? It is in range. As you can see, that goes really quick. It's a little bit too quick in my opinion, but yeah, I don't know. Now, yeah, Tom Scott was asking for help the entire time, but there's literally 0 help I can add. He does get a nice side shot with the M1A1, and we have an ATGM moving up from the left, taking out the M1A1 Abrams. Look at that. I think it was from the Mi-24P, and I didn't even mean to do it. That was extremely lucky. Now with these BMPs, what I'm trying to do is build a wall of them, mainly just to have ATGM line. That is the entire purpose of these BMPs. The infantry in them, I couldn't even care less. They are not the best. Now the A-10 actually hits a Sidewinder on the MiG. I just have to fall back with them, unfortunately. And those A-10s that are just circling are really, really dangerous. Now over here, I was actually RDing the enemy supply situation. The supply Chinook does fly away, but we managed to destroy a supply truck, which will severely, if not minimally, affect his supply situation, because all of his tanks are basically on full HP already. But man, if I was playing as the 79th, I would have clapped all these tanks. We're making it work with the T-72s. We got 4 of them there. We have 1 here. Where's the command tank? Did we lose him? We might have lost... No, here he is. Okay, he's getting repaired. So we've got 4, 5, 6 T-72s. I once again move into the forest, because he was moving quite close, and that is where we excel, at close range combat. That's when your armor doesn't really matter. You're going to get 1 or maybe 2 tapped. You're gonna have a bad time. Now Tom is doing his best on the right side. He has some tanks holding here, he has Pulmachikis, but he's against Silver, who's playing as 3rd armored, so you kinda just... Man, you just kind of lack the counters to the Apaches and all, you know, the A-10s and all that stuff. You kind of just don't have those. Su-25s are good and all, but A-10 just hits different. So we get a lot of our reimbursements from empty transports, which is pretty nice. 20 points, or whatever we call them, basically. We got our supply situation in order. Tanks are all on full HP. They got their smoke and everything. And I'm actually smoking right now on the flanks here, so that I can move uninterrupted towards the challengers. PMPs fire their forgot ATGMs. That challenger gets hit, bringing them down to 8 HP. Definitely not a bad thing. And moving back and forth like this kind of confuses his artillery as well. He kind of is RDing where I was the entire time. Now this T-72 is hurt, I just fall back with him, get the leader unit up here, and as you can see, their veterancy just got increased. And they're doing pretty dang good right now. But with that, a fresh push from Call Sign. My 80 gems trying desperately to land a hit on them. We luckily finally get one hit. Our T-72 command gets absolutely trashed. We just smoke it off, move up with these guys while we got some good licks in with the 80 gems. And here we go, that guy is down. Just like that, we take down a Challenger Mark II. That was lucky, but what did it cost us? Almost 2 tanks. So that's kind of like the ratio that I saw the entire time. Now with that though, I move in my Mi-24, try to get some 80 gem shots on him. We land 2 with the BMPs and the Conquerors teams. Unfortunately with that, we do get RD'd. And we kind of get blasted with those. Now 80 gems on the left side doing their best as well to try to hit. We do get 1 shot or 1 hit on that guy, but that is basically it there. We got our bombers coming in to try to do some damage on those tanks, literally just trying to scare them off as much as possible and make them go back for repairs. Speaking of repairs, we have our supply trucks still surviving and getting our tanks back to full HP. We are just microing the crap out of these units. With the amount of the lack of quality units that we have, we're making this work really well, even if I say so myself. Now with that though, our situation looks dire. The supply truck got yeeted. Luckily we do have another one there that can hold the line a little bit. Nice 80 gem strike on the side of the M1A1HA. Now we are out of 80 gems, but luckily the rockets do some AP damage as well. 2 penetration, nope, no penetration, HE. But if you just do enough HE on an Abrams, you're gonna destroy it. So there goes that M1A1HA. Yeah, right side fully collapsed. I don't know how. Silver was pretty good, I gotta give him that. And he just used his units, he just played his cards right. What can I say? Like, because other than that, we were holding. The right side kind of folding means that I now have an enemy pincer move happening as we speak, which is far from ideal. At this point, we have our Acacias on a smoke mission to smoke here and to smoke here. I just pop my smoke on a tank and decide to fall back as well, because we're getting RD'd at the moment. And I'm just on a full retreat mode, because against all of that out in the open without our cover, our strong points, we're gonna be in trouble. Now there's a plane incoming there. Tornado GR1 is just HE, so I quickly avoid the bombs by moving forward. And after that, we are good to go backwards once again. The Conquerors are gonna hold the line. We got 1 T-72 here to try to annoy them as much as possible. He's not in gun range. If that Conquerors hits, wow, he almost hit. That would have been quite insane. So our new plan is to set up a perimeter above this plateau, because we can shoot down towards them from here, and they won't have a good line of sight on us on top of the hill. So we just move to like this area here, we can quickly peek out, engage, and fall back. So that's basically the plan. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Challenger Mark IIs. That is like 1500 points right there. 1700 if you also calculate this one here. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that is nasty. Luckily though, our supply situation is still good, so we're quickly fixing these guys up. Not that they're gonna do much against 6 Challengers, but hey, we gotta make them work for it. That's the entire goal right now. Mi-24 basically finished his entire payload of rockets and Kokon ATGMs. Trying to hold the line here, scaring off these Challengers. But he has no ATGMs left. An Akula would have been beautiful in this game. If I could put an Akula in this battle group, man, we could have done some we could have made some magic happen. Because the only thing you get is track rapiers and manpats as the UK armored. Now Tornado F3 coming in, thinking that I still have 80 gems in his Mi-24, but it's literally there just to scare off the enemy. But unfortunately, for us, it takes down our beloved. And that opens the way for Call Sign to move up once more. I think he brings up a supply truck to quickly heal these guys up, because this guy is down to 8 and this guy's down to 5. But nope, never mind. He's gonna push. So we have a new plan. New plan is to do this. Our final stand. On the first light of the 5th day, look to the east. Oh yeah, we're doing it. That is basically the only thing that is left to do before the inevitable happens. We use our artillery to smoke off this little plateau, because if we move here, he can engage us. But if we smoke it and then move to this position, he is much closer and we're gonna actually do some damage. That is the main purpose here, because otherwise I'm in cover pretty well, but I would have to move quite close in order to engage them. Now, Tom Scott's units do get some nice AT-gem hits there. He has some T80 BVs, but unfortunately they just don't have the good front armor. T80U is a little bit better, 20 front armor there. But also, unfortunately for him, his AT-gems are not hitting. Well, he got 2 hits there, bringing him down to 6 HP, not too bad. Now the smoke has arrived. I put my tanks in a nice little line formation. We get them all whipped out, and these are not cheap. 125 points for each. That's costly. Let me see here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So that's about 1500 points right there. Now one of these Challenger Mark IIs does get clapped quite a bit by all these AT-gems. The BMP2 just having a little bit of a moment there. Not a good one. Not a good one. And here we go. We decide to move the force. The T-72s in a double line formation charge forward, dealing a beautiful side shot on the Chally, taking him out in 2 taps. Clean 2-tap shot right there. And this guy is afraid. We also have a force, secondary force on the left with our original T-72 M1s. And we have the basic T-72 Ms pushing over here. Now that Challenger is stunned. That one is on its last breath basically. And there we go. With that spalling, we take out that guy. That Challenger is back down to 3 HP. I'm focus firing on that guy. The rifles over here are being a little bit of a problem, not gonna lie. They got those LOL 80s with 20 AP value. Being a little bit of an issue. But with that, we are going out with a bang. T-72s charging forward in a beautiful fashion here. And we're just focusing on all these tanks. That guy is stunned. I wonder if we also managed to take him out. Yep, there goes that Chally. But with that, you kind of run out of steam, because now we got a couple of issues incoming. I quickly smoke, hoping that it was like an anti-tank plane. It was, but of the other kind, that smoke doesn't do anything against, which is cluster. So it was quite unfortunate. Now at this point, we try to just deal as much damage as we can here. We see that Challenger that is on its dying breath here, 3 HP, and we take that out as well. But after that, we know that we can't keep pushing, because we're at max range against Challenger 2s. That is not going to end well. That is not going to end well for us. So we fall back. Now if I had these other tanks still on standby, I could have maybe gotten some nice side shots on these 2 Abrams here, which would have been pretty cool as well. But we did our best. Against First Armored, and now also GMC on my left and Silver on my right side, basically getting pincer moved from both sides, there's not much I can do. And with that, there goes my last T-72. I have tried here. We have done our best. Now an A-tank comes in. Gets really angry at our T-72s. And there goes the last bastion of Soviet support. Now this last T-72, he's actually the last one, facing off against a base M1 Abrams. Now that M1 Abrams is stunned quite a bit, but he still manages to land a shot. Which kind of makes me wonder if that doesn't like affect their accuracy and whatnot. It just makes them, more likely to rout and panicking. try to, you know, just run away from the front line. Oh, we have another D72. That could have been useful there in that fight. Now, the one thing that we don't lack is AA. We got some nice Cubs here. We got the Afghanzis. Surprisingly, we actually have a good AA situation for once. And there goes that little guy. Yeah, that kind of became a little anticlimactic for sure. We didn't win this one, as you can probably guess. But man, was that a lot of fun, and we showed off some good strategies that you can use as well. If you notice the enemy has better tanks in terms of anything really, try to get close to him. Because if you get close to him, armor doesn't mean anything. You will penetrate and do a lot of damage. Now he will probably one-tap you, and you might have to take two good shots to kill him. But then you actually stand a chance, whereas in this engagement here, there's no way my T-72 is gonna win that. Max range, I'm only gonna do 1 damage, while he did 3 damage with his gun, so he only needs to hit me 3 more times and I'm done for. But that was awesome. In the match, Callsign actually said that it was quite epic as well, and I do agree, that was pretty dang cool. We had some really fun battles there. And we just out-microed him in the beginning quite a bit, but yeah, with the help of the Americans, there is not much we can do. If it was only Callsign the entire time, that push might have done something, and I might have been able to hold back here. Now we try to do another bombing run here, try to just piss off some Abrams, but it didn't really work out in the end. Now with that, we are at 6,950 kills versus almost 6,200 losses. Pretty good. Now the amount of challengers we killed was pretty interesting as well. So there's one there, 2, 3, 4. There's also some Abrams, but 5, 6, 7, 8 Challenger Mark IIs. That is 2,500 points or so. That is crazy. But if we count the other ones, like Abrams, so that's 9. Let me see here. 9, 10, 11 tanks, 11 or 12. So basically a dozen super heavy tanks. That's what we had to deal with. And unfortunately, we did lose a lot of units to those challengers, though. This guy just clapped T-72s left and right, destroying 5 of them. And this guy doing quite a lot of damage as well. Yeah, challengers are awesome to fight with. They got really good front armor. And it might be really easy to go with them, but if you go for something of a medium armored battle group, you're going to be in for some fun, because you can pull off some interesting strategies which they don't expect. They just want to like fast move their tanks into your line, and it usually costs them quite dearly as well. With that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys back in the next one.